Hello everyone and welcome to a Readathon wrap-up. So this one was for Phase 4, Phases Out My TBR. This was hosted by Chris from Chris's Corner, and the phase that we are working for is a run of 7. There is a Discord channel. I will have Chris's YouTube channel in the description box so that you can find their announcement video and everything like that. That's going to have all the prompts and the Discord channel in their videos. So the goal was a run of 7. I messaged on Discord saying, it was like I had 2 days left of the month and I had not completed my run of 7. So I was thinking, oh crap, am I going to fail? Am I not going to be able to continue on trying to with this readathon that Chris has created? So I messaged saying, do we have until the next readathon announcement, and basically the answer is yes, you do it to how it's going to work for you. This is just for fun to help you get through your books, through your TBR. So I have finally got my run of 7. I completed this on June 4th, so it's 4 days after this started in the month of May. So 4 days after May, I finally completed my run of 7. There are 4 different colored prompts. And so let me just tell you, for the yellow prompts, I did not get any books read. Okay? So we'll go ahead and just move on from the yellow prompts. I did complete three of the blue prompts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the green prompts, and all but 1 of the red prompts. So the red prompts were easier for me to fulfill. And with the previous phases that we have done, it's been the same case. So for me, the red prompts are the easiest to fulfill, and that's perfectly fine. So my run of 7 consists of red prompts. Basically 1 through the one I did not complete is number 11. So pick a range from 1 to 10. So 1 to 7, 2 to 8, 3 to 9, 4 to 10. That's my run of 7. So yeah, that's it. So now let's go ahead and get into which prompts I did complete. I'm not going to go over the ones I did not because there are so many prompts, but I will tell you what prompt I did complete and what the book was that I used to fulfill that prompt. So the first, and these are in no particular order, so just as I have written down, I have continue a series, and I'm starting off with all the red prompts first. And the book that I used for that one was The Silence of the Lambs, written by Thomas Harris. This is book number 2 in the Hannibal Lecter series. I'm not going to go into a big synopsis on these, but I will tell you this edition, mass market paperback, was 421 pages, and I gave this one 4 stars. This is where we're getting to know Hannibal Lecter, this cannibalistic serial killer, more. And you're wondering, is he playing the FBI or is the FBI playing him? Because they're trying to get his insight on an open case to try to catch a serial killer. So, but yeah, 4 stars, this was fun. The next prompt I completed was disability or mental health rep. I'm using anxiety as mental health rep. And for this one, I'm going with A Sisterhood of Secret Ambitions, written by Sheena Boekweg. 4 stars, 337 pages, feminist. It does have LGBT rep. There is mention of someone that is trans, someone that is probably ace in this, or asexual, whatever the correct wording is, and mention of of a female who prefers to accompany a female. This takes place, I think, in the early 1900s. It doesn't give an exact year, but when it was more like the women are to be seen on the arms of the men and never heard type of a situation. You have this group of women who have kind of like an Underground Railroad type situation where they're trying to save women from bad relationships of like domestic abuse as well as their children, to get them out of that bad situation, like they did with getting the slaves out of their situation in the slavery, and kind of do it secretly. You have code words passed. In this case, it's code recipes passed, and tells them where to meet, who they're meeting, and stuff like that. They are trying to find men that are good and get them into more prominent positions to help give women more rights and just better the world. So kind of that situation. This was fun. Again, 4 stars, 337 pages. Next book was Nature on the Cover. For this one, I did an ebook. I read Maynard's House by Herman Raucher. This one was a horror. I gave this one 2 stars. It left me with far more questions than answers. 272 pages, and this takes place during the time of the Vietnam War. As far as the nature on the covers, you will see it's a cabin. There's trees, snow. There you go. So that's pretty much all I can really say about that. I was fairly disappointed in that one. Next prompt is Pretty Cover. For this one, I went with this edition of Bad Boy. As you can see, Bad Boy is not on the title or on the cover. This is because this is the discreet edition of the Bad Boy book written by Willow Winters. Willow Winters has these discreet versions where it's the couple's name on the front. There is no synopsis on the back, but when you do open it, you have the title and the synopsis on the inside. I wish the authors that did special edition covers where they end up with just a quote on the back, or their discreet covers like this, please, please, please put the synopsis on the inside. That is my preference, but not all of them do this. For me, this is a pretty cover. I love the simplicity of it. There's a flower there. I love these discreet versions. And so for me, this is a pretty cover. This is an erotic, adult, dark BDSM romance involving the mafia. This is the final book in the Blatty Crime Family series, which is a mafia romance. You can read them in any order. They're more companion type novels, but I read them in order, and this was probably one of my favorites out of the 5 books. I gave this one 5 stars. It's 249 pages of mafia dark smut funness. That's all I can say. The 5th prompt listed under the red prompts is paperback. For this one, I went with a paperback. This one titled Bloodwalker by L.X. Cain. This is a horror book involving a circus. Takes place in like Romania. And you have children going missing. There's talk of cannibalism regarding these children that have gone missing. And it was fun. So 4 stars, 280 pages. The next one I have is a short book. For this one is an ebook. I read Sour Candy by Kealan, Patrick Burke. This is another horror. And oh man, this was a ride involving an evil child and the adult man who somehow the minds of the people around him get manipulated into thinking he actually has a child where he didn't before. And he eats these sour candies and that's all he's eaten, and his teeth start to fall out. So 5 stars from me, 74 pages. Next up, 5+ words in the title. So 5 or more words in the title. For this one, I went with Deep and Dark and Dangerous. 5 stars. This one is a middle grade horror book written by Mary Downing Hahn. This one involves a gal who's like 12, something like that. Anyway, she goes with her aunt and her cousin to this cabin in Maine that has a lake, and things from the past start to become apparent. Involves death of a child. There's water involved, so you can guess kind of what happened, and secrets being revealed. So this was fun. 3 stars, 187 pages. Next was to read a standalone. For this one, I went with Immortelle by Catherine McCarthy. This was also a second chance author from me. I read another book by this author that I didn't particularly care for, but this one I actually really enjoyed. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. It was 118 pages. It's definitely a standalone. This one takes place in the Wales area of England, and again, death of a child. This is religious horror, so you have talk of like this priest that's possibly keeping secrets. You have talk of witchcraft, demons, things like that, and it was fun. So let's see, the next one I have for the red prompts that I fulfilled is a book you've been avoiding. For this one I went with, whoop, I'm dropping it, Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. It sounded good. I thought this was an adult. I knew it take place as a historical fiction, and I knew it took place during World War II. That's all I knew about it, but something about this just kind of intimidated me. I read it for another type readathon, and it was the group read, and I am glad because it pushed me to pick it up, and I ended up giving it 5 stars. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. 378 pages. You have 4 different POVs, one of which is a Nazi supporter. The others are not. So, you do have teenage pregnancy in this as well, via basically rape, and basically it is rape. It was rape, and just trying to survive World War II. So it actually made me cry at the end. So 5 stars, 378 pages. And there were times I did want to throw it across the room, because especially when it came to the perspective of the Nazi supporter guy, ooh, he made me mad. Okay. And the next red prompt I completed was a highest rated book. Not very many reviews for this, but I went with Declaration of War, which is book number 1 in the Hunted Tribe series. This is a horror book written by Roma Gray. 4 stars, 269 pages. You have these Native American tribes that wanted to gain more power. They summoned this animal spirit that was supposed to give them more power, called the Grishla. Turns out that the Grishla they summoned is this velociraptor type dinosaur spirit animal, and they start dying off. The Native Americans, not the spirit animal. And now they're basically at war with these spirit animals as they're trying to kill off the people, and the people are trying to survive and end things with the Grishla. So it was fun. This one, when I read it, had a 4.79 star rating, and I gave this one 4 stars, 269 pages. And the last red prompt, so I'm skipping the one I did, well, the one I did not do was a book with a weapon on the cover, okay? That's the only red prompt I did not complete. The last red prompt was to read a book that is an adult. I went with Deserter by Junji Ito. This is an adult horror manga of short stories. So short story collection, all manga, written by Junji Ito. Had a great time. Yeah, just horror short stories. I really enjoyed Junji Ito's work. I gave this 4 stars. It was 384 pages. Now we're in the green prompts. So the prompts I did complete. Again, I'm not for the rest of this to tell you what prompts I did not do. So I did complete a book that has an animal on the cover. I read Pretty When They Collide, written by Rhiannon Frater. I gave this one 3 stars. It was 133 pages. This is a fantasy, kind of a romance. You do start to have someone realizing that she's attracted to other women, someone who knows that she's attracted to women. So you do have that female-female relation in there, possibly starting. And then book 1 does have the tag of horror. So it's probably going to go into more horror. You have fantastical creatures. You have talk of werewolves. You have talk of vampires. You have those that are half-breeds, so half human, half vampire, things like that. So yeah, it was fun. The next prompt I completed was a single POV, which is point of view. For this one, I read Good Different by Megan Eden Coit. This is all told in verse. It's poetry. This was the selection for the June selection for Autism Reads, which is a read-along that I host, or a book club I host, where we read a book every month by an author that is confirmed to be autistic. June's selection was a middle grade, and so we went with Good Different. 5 freaking stars. Highly, highly recommend. 273 pages. I underlined so many things in this because I still relate. Even as a 40-year-old, I still relate to a lot of the thoughts and the feelings that this middle grader in this book experiences. And I've had these feelings and thoughts as long as I can remember since childhood, and still struggle with some of these thoughts and feelings. So this really hit hard for me. Highly recommend if you want to understand more about people that are possibly autistic, or about you being autistic. Pick this book up. It was great. Loved it. So highly recommend that one. The next prompt I completed was to read a book with an even page number. I read The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. I gave this one 1 star. I did not care for this book, mostly revolving around the scene of the child who is possessed by a demon, which I get. You're not doing things that you're would normally do. This is religious horror. I don't mind religious horror. However, this one just kind of crossed the line for me. I did not like it. And I have seen the movie, and the scenes in the movie are in the book. And I will say there's 2 scenes that I was hoping were not in the book, that it was just added to the movie for theatrical elements, because I know that things get added in movies. The two things in the book as well was the scene where the child is masturbating with the cross. That I did not like. I understand the whole thing of like people breaking into a church and doing stuff to the crosses and things like that for sacrilege or whatever they're going to do. I totally get that. Yeah, it bothers me, the fact that people would desecrate something that is considered sacred to people, but in this context, I get it, and it does happen. But that situation with the masturbation and the cross really bugged me, as well as when the 12-year-old grabs her mother's head and forces it into her crotch, wanting the mother to basically lick her area. So those two things really pulled that down, and I felt like it just dragged. It was too long, and I felt like it just kind of went around and around, and I just felt like it would have done a lot better had it been a short story, in my opinion. So I ended up giving it 1 star. It was 378 pages, and I have since unhauled this book because I won't reread it. That's definitely one. Even if I would have given it like a 3-star, I still would have unhauled it, because it's the type of book that it's like, I've read it once, I'm good. I have no interest in reading it. So I am glad I read it, because now I know where it stands. I stand with it, so I don't regret reading it. So don't think I regret it. I don't regret reading it. It just wasn't for me. The next book is to read a book with LGBTQIA plus rep. For this one, I did Carmilla, the First Vampire, written by Amy Chu. I did not write the illustrator down. I wish I did, but this takes place in the 90s, and it is, like I said, it's about a vampire. This person helps people that are homeless and needing help, and they are just trying to help people get back on their feet, and people that she has come to care for go missing, and she's trying to figure out what's going on with that, and she is in a lesbian relationship, and so that is your LGBTQ rep. I gave that one 3 stars, and it was 100 pages. The next prompt I completed was to start a series, and for this one I did Wild Seed by Octavia E. Butler. I gave this one 3 stars. It was 298 pages. This one starts in like the 1600s, so the start of the slave stuff going on, of people being taken from Africa and things like that. But there is fantastical elements, because there are 2 point of views that we are following where these people are basically immortal. And family is a big emphasis in that book. So I did enjoy the book. So the next green prompt I completed was to read a book with high hopes. Another horror ebook, Scalp by Carver Pike, 308 pages. I gave this 5 stars. I had high hopes because I thought, where this is about lice that basically turn people into zombies, I was very intrigued by this. I had high hopes, especially involving the lice that creeps a lot of people out, gives them the heebie-jeebies, and that did not disappoint in that factor. Next up is to read a book with fire on the cover. I read Halloween Kismet by Nikki Lobelia. I'm sure I said that wrong. 3 stars, 73 pages. It's a monster romance, in this case between someone who is turning into a dragon, so it's like half human, half dragon, but he's turning into a dragon, and a human female. And it's very smutty, so very spicy. The next one I completed was to read a young adult. I did That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. This is a debut book from this author, following 2 point of views. One is from someone who is suffering from amnesia due to some trauma, and she can't remember who she is. And then the other point of view is from someone who's trying to find a girlfriend that has gone missing. So you have a teenager who is missing, things like that. And it's just following along. I was not expecting the twist at the end. I was completely blindsided. I thought I figured it out, and boy was I wrong. Loved it. I ended up giving this one 5 stars. I can't wait for the next book from this author. This is a standalone, but the author does have another book that is set to come out, I think, in January of 2025. And I've already pre-ordered it because I liked the writing, and so I'm excited for that. This one I gave 5 stars, 290 pages. And the rest of the books that I'll be telling you about are all ebooks. Next was to read an anticipated read. This one was a horror book of short stories. I was anticipating this one because all these short stories in this collection take place in Utah, which is the state that I live in. I read Apocalypse, Utah. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. It was 171 pages. A lot of zombie type stories, but they weren't all zombies. But they were all short stories basically about the apocalypse, end of the world as we know it. And these ones all take place in Utah, so it was fun. That's all of the green prompts, I believe. Yes, all of the green prompts I've completed. Again, I did not complete any of the yellow prompts, so the last color is blue. For blue, I completed a new to you author. I read Below Deck Mermaids by Matt Shaw. Gave this one 4 stars. It was 118 pages, and it was fun. This was a horror book. You have this rich man and his family and friends that go on a yacht. They're supposed to kind of cruise the area. They find this mermaid, bring her on board, and so then once this mermaid is on the ship, or on this yacht, bad things start to happen. The final 2 prompts that I completed, one is to read a book with low hopes. I had low expectations because this is like an early middle grade reader, so I wasn't expecting anything of it. I read Buffalo Before Breakfast by Mary Pope Osborne. I did not rate it because I'm not the target audience. It was 76 pages. Yeah, it was fun, but I can see how it would be more significant and entertaining and impactful for the target audience. For me, it was just a quick read to try and get a prompt done. So I didn't rate it 76 pages. And the last prompt I did was an odd page number. For this one, I read Halloween Bang, another monster smut romance. This one was written by S.F. Riley. Trying to remember, Alien, Purple Alien in this one is the monster, and it's the men that are always the monsters in these. The women's are sometimes a witch, but usually just straight up human, and it's the men that are monsters, whether in the Monsters collection, Mistakes collection, in this case, in this book, their monsters could be dragons, could be gargoyles, the Grim Reaper, vampires, that type of thing. So Halloween Bang by S.F. Riley, I gave this 3 stars. It was 127 pages. Those are all the books that I read for a run of 7 for Phase Out Your TBR, which was Phase 4, and it was fun. So I had a great time. Chris did a great job with this and continues to do a great job with this, and I look forward to the next round. So for this particular readathon, that is, out of all the books read to try to complete and get that run of 7, which I finally did, 5,314 pages. It took me 35 days to complete my run of 7. So 151.83 pages per day. Or I can do the 5,314 pages divided amongst the 23 books that I read, which worked out to be about 231.04 pages per book. Star ratings, 1 book did not get a rating. 1 book got a 1 star, 1 book got a 2 star, 6 got a 3 star, 8 4 stars, and 6 got 5 stars. So that's 83 stars issued divided amongst the 23 books read. That is a 3.6 star average for the books. Let me know, did you participate in Phase 4 of Phase Out Your TBR? Did you complete your run of 7, or are you still working on it? Let me know. Again, I will have Chris's channel for YouTube in the description box. Talk to me in the comment section below, and until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I will talk to you later.